In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the delay plugins in Pro Tools. Delay is sort of like reverb, except instead of a general haze of sound, there are discrete echoes that you can hear one at a time. So in this track, I have the lead vocal soloed. Let's listen to the dry vocal.
My oldest friend underground train.
Not a lot of depth to that vocal, so let's add some space to it. I have 3 sends set up, a reverb send going to this return track, but it's muted right now. And then I have 2 delay sends set up, one going to dynamic delay and the other going to multi-delay. Let's look at dynamic delay first. I'm going to raise my send fader to blend some of that delay into the signal.
My oldest friend underground train.
So you can kind of hear what delay does. I have the mix knob set to 100% because it's on a return track. The delay time setting describes how long the plugin waits until it spits out the delayed signal. Right now it's set to sync mode, which means that we're getting musical values. This is set to 4, which means quarter note. If I go down and make it faster, now it's set to 1/8 notes. Let's listen to the difference.
My oldest friend underground train.
So the delay is faster. If I take it out of sync mode, it will function in milliseconds. This is a little more flexible, but also somewhat harder to control. But in our case, our session tempo is not set, so this might be the best option. Let's play around with it.
My oldest friend underground train. The horror beats a slow refrain. Slow.
That's kind of fun. Now the feedback knob is what controls how much of the delayed signal is fed back into the delay. So more feedback equals more delays. Less feedback equals fewer delays. Let's check it out.
My oldest friend
That died out pretty quickly.
My oldest friend underground.
The delays go on for much longer with more feedback. Be careful when you set the feedback all the way up to 100% because the signal will maybe never die. I'm going to set the feedback to about 30% for now. In the middle here, we have some other settings. There is a left-right ratio, so I can adjust the ratio of the delay in your left or right headphone or speaker. There's a stereo width. I can make the delay pattern narrower or wider. There's an EQ section where we can sculpt the timbre of the delay by cutting out low frequencies or high frequencies or both. And there's an envelope modulation box down here, which we're not going to cover right now. There's also a feedback mode parameter. Right now it's set to mono. I can set it to stereo or cross, in which the left and right are crossed. But for now, I'm just going to leave it at mono. You can experiment with these other parameters. But for now, we're going to move on to another type of delay. I'm going to mute this send and focus on multi-delay. Multi-delay has some of the same parameters. There's a high cut and a low cut, just like in the center of the dynamic delay plugin. There's a mix knob, which we have set to 100% wet. There's a delay time parameter here, which again has a sync mode, or you can set it to milliseconds. We'll leave it in sync for now. And there is a feedback knob in which you can increase the number of delays or decrease the number of delays. Now this middle section is quite interesting, and this is the heart of the multi-delay plugin. Each row is a tap or a discrete echo. And so you can have the original signal plus up to 5 taps for a combined total of 6 copies or 6 instances of each word or note or whatever it is. For each tap, you can choose a delay time. You can choose the volume level. So if you want the taps to die away as they go on, you would just choose a progressively lower volume level for each tap. And you could make each tap progressively later in time. And that's what's happening here. You can see that this is much later than this. And then you can select a pan position. So if you wanted the delay to ping pong back and forth in the headphones before it dies away, you could do that too. Let's listen to how this sounds as I bring up the
oldest
send.
friend underground train. The horror beats are slow.
That's a lot. You can also turn individual taps on and off with these on buttons. So you can really do a lot in this plugin to sculpt your delay.